Ciryl Gane recently made things more interesting ahead of UFC 321 by predicting an all-out dogfight against Tom Aspinall, and the champion doesn't seem to disagree. Both heavyweights have acknowledged that this matchup could easily turn into a war, as they are two of the most technical and efficient strikers in the division. However, Gane has been in deeper waters, having faced elite names such as John Jones and Francis Ngannou, while Aspinall's record mainly consists of quick and dominant finishes. In fact, the British fighter holds the record for the shortest average fight time in UFC history, leaving a lingering question about how he performs if the fight extends into the later rounds. Gane believes his best path to victory is to drag Aspinall into deep waters using his signature movement and distance control. He stated that his plan is to test the champion's conditioning and composure across the full 25 minutes if needed. This comment didn't seem to bother Aspinall, who laughed off Gane's remarks during media day. He confidently pointed out that everyone who has ever tried to take him into deep waters ended up getting knocked out in the opening rounds. Both men are entering this fight fully aware of each other's strengths and weaknesses, which makes UFC 321 one of the most anticipated heavyweight matchups in years. Many fans and analysts expect it to be a fast-paced and highly technical battle that could redefine the division. When asked whether he expects the fight to reach the championship rounds, Gane said he is prepared for every scenario. He explained that he can finish the fight early or go the full distance if necessary, emphasizing that he feels ready for any situation. Gane described the fight as a dogfight, saying that he hopes it becomes a grueling, competitive test for both men. Not only for himself as a challenge but also for the fans and the crowd who deserve a spectacular show. During the same interview, Gane also shared his thoughts on Alex Pereira potentially moving up to the heavyweight division. He praised Pereira as a dangerous and well-built fighter, noting how successfully he transitioned from middleweight to light heavyweight. Gane said he believes Pereira could compete effectively at heavyweight as well, remaining just as dangerous despite the size difference. He added that he respects Pereira's approach to his career and understands the business side of such moves within the sport. Kamaru Usman recently made headlines with bold praise for Ciryl Gane, calling him one of the most complete athletes in the entire UFC. His comments immediately stirred debate among fans and fellow fighters, with Henry Cejudo strongly disagreeing. The discussion comes just ahead of UFC 321, where Gane is set to defend his heavyweight title against Tom Aspinall in what many are calling one of the most highly anticipated matchups of the year. Usman's admiration for Gane was based on his athleticism, skill set, and versatility. He described Gane as a rare kind of fighter who combines elite-level movement, coordination, and composure with the size and power of a heavyweight. According to Usman, Gane's ability to strike fluidly, control distance, and adapt to different styles makes him one of the best all-around athletes in the sport. He pointed out that being an athlete is about more than just fighting. It's about the physical attributes that define performance, such as speed, agility, and coordination. Usman even mentioned that Gane's athleticism is so advanced that he could easily perform in other sports, like basketball, where he has shown impressive ability. However, Henry Cejudo quickly disagreed with Usman's assessment. The Olympic gold medalist and former two-division UFC champion argued that athleticism alone doesn't make a complete mixed martial artist. According to Cejudo, MMA demands a balance of wrestling, grappling, and striking, and he believes Gane's lack of elite wrestling skills keeps him from being considered one of the most complete fighters in the UFC. Cejudo went as far as predicting that Tom Aspinall would win their upcoming fight, citing his superior wrestling ability and knockout power as key advantages. Meanwhile, outside of the cage, Tom Aspinall's camp is also creating buzz. His father and longtime coach recently revealed that Aspinall should not sign a new UFC contract after his current 3-fight deal expires. They hinted that the plan is to complete those 3 fights and then explore other opportunities, possibly outside the UFC. This revelation isn't too surprising given that Aspinall once mentioned back in 2016 that he considered leaving MMA altogether to pursue a career in boxing. Despite the debate, Kamaru Usman refused to make a clear prediction about the outcome of Gane versus Aspinall. He called it one of those rare fights that are almost impossible to predict because both men are so talented and evenly matched. Cejudo, however, confidently stated that he expects Aspinall to secure a late-round finish, likely in the championship rounds. The middleweight division continues to heat up as Robert Whittaker has officially expressed his interest in fighting Sean Strickland on the historic White House card scheduled for June 2026. Whittaker stated that he has been eyeing a matchup with Strickland for quite some time, not out of personal rivalry, but because he finds the stylistic clash intriguing. Strickland, who currently holds the number 3 spot in the middleweight rankings, represents the type of challenge Whittaker thrives on. According to the former champion, a victory over Strickland would put him right back in the title picture and solidify his case for another championship opportunity. For fans, this potential fight is a dream scenario. Two elite strikers known for their technical precision, toughness, and relentless pace meeting inside the octagon. While Whittaker's potential clash with Strickland dominates headlines, the conversation around Dricus Du Plessis' next opponent has also picked up steam. On the Mako and Burns podcast, the hosts discussed who Du Plessis, the reigning middleweight champion, should face next. Their top pick was Brendan Allen, who has been on an impressive run following his victory over Rainier de Ridder. Allen has openly stated his intentions to make a serious title push and believes he can challenge even the likes of Khamzat Chimaev in the near future. However, the consensus among analysts is that Allen still needs another 1 or 2 strong wins before earning a title shot, especially considering how stacked the division currently is with contenders like Du Plessis, Strickland, Anthony, Fluffy, Hernandez, and others all vying for a top position. The podcast hosts also discussed the potential stylistic matchup between Du Plessis and Allen. They noted that there is some history and tension between the two fighters, dating back to before Du Plessis became champion. Allen has long wanted to face Du Plessis, and the dynamic between them could make for an intense build-up. The hosts emphasized Allen's versatile grappling skills, pointing out that he can adapt to various ground situations, unlike some fighters who rely solely on top control. They added that to compete with someone like Khamzat Chimaev, a fighter must have the ability to defend takedowns, get back to their feet, and be comfortable fighting from the bottom. The discussion concluded with a recognition of how competitive the middleweight division has become. With fighters like Whittaker targeting a return to the top, Strickland seeking redemption, Du Plessis holding the belt, and rising contenders like Allen and Hernandez chasing their moment, the division is arguably at its most exciting point in years. Reports recently surfaced claiming that Patchy had failed a drug test following his fight against Magomed Magomedov in Bellator, which took place in May of last year. The bout, which Mix originally won by split decision, came under scrutiny after Tapology reported that the French MMA Federation had communicated concerns about the results. According to the report, the federation, responsible for overseeing MMA regulation in France, allegedly decided to overturn Mix's victory and change the result from a win to a loss due to a failed drug test. In response, Patchy quickly addressed the situation, taking to social media to clarify his stance. He dismissed the claims by stating that marijuana is not a performance-enhancing drug and expressed his frustration by saying, "Weed ain't no performance-enhancing drug, only in Paris, SMH." Mix's fiancée, fellow UFC fighter Tatiana Suarez, also weighed in on the matter, providing additional details about what she described as a testing and reporting error. According to Suarez, Mix did not smoke or consume marijuana during the competition period, and the test results were due to a lab mistake. She explained that the issue stemmed from a decimal point error in the laboratory's data entry, which made it appear as though Mix's THC levels exceeded the allowable limit when, in fact, they did not. Suarez revealed that Mix spent over $20,000 in legal fees to dispute the decision and correct the record. Despite their efforts, she claimed the French authorities were uncooperative, describing the experience as a nightmare to work with when it comes to MMA. However, the confusion surrounding the case has since been cleared up. MMA journalist Damon Martin later reported that Patchy Mix's win over Magomed Magomedov would remain intact. He confirmed this after speaking directly with Mike Mazzulli, the official who oversaw drug testing for the Bellator event in France. Mazzulli clarified that the test in question was specifically related to marijuana use and that, upon review, Mix's official test result was negative. Therefore, the French MMA Federation's alleged decision to overturn the result was not upheld, and the victory stands as originally recorded. This incident highlights the ongoing complications that can arise when international athletic commissions and regulatory bodies handle drug testing differently. In this case, despite initial reports suggesting wrongdoing, Patchy mix has been cleared, and his win remains valid, ensuring that his Bellator record remains unaffected by the controversy. When UFC President Dana White announced that Peyton Talbot would be facing Henry Cejudo at UFC 323, the news immediately surprised many fans and analysts. Cejudo, a former two-division UFC champion and Olympic gold medalist, represents a massive step up in competition compared to the level of opponents Talbot has faced so far in his career. Critics were quick to point out Talbot's decision loss to Raoni Barcelos at UFC 311, questioning whether the young fighter was ready for such a challenge against a seasoned veteran like Cejudo. In an interview with Ariel Helwani, Talbot addressed the criticism and explained how the fight came together. He revealed that the matchup was made simply because he said yes when others didn't. According to Talbot, many fighters in the rankings between himself and Cejudo declined to take the fight, leaving the opportunity open for him. He said that before the Cejudo fight materialized, he had been actively trying to secure a spot on the Madison Square Garden card, but multiple potential opponents turned down the matchup. Once Cejudo agreed, Talbot immediately accepted without hesitation. Talbot emphasized that he has never been one to avoid difficult challenges. He made it clear that he doesn't choose fights based on how favorable they appear on paper. Instead, he sees every bout as an opportunity to test himself against the best competition available. "I haven't said no to anyone," Talbot explained. "I was down to fight any of the names ranked between me and Henry, but it just didn't work out that way. I'm super excited to fight Henry. It's the best fight I could have gotten." When asked why the matchup excites him, Talbot spoke with genuine respect for Cejudo's accomplishments. He described Cejudo as one of the greatest fighters of all time, highlighting his rare combination of achievements, holding titles in 2 UFC divisions and earning an Olympic gold medal in wrestling. "There will never be another Henry Cejudo," Talbot said. "I have a ton of respect for him just for that reason." Talbot went on to explain that his motivation isn't just about winning fights but about personal growth and proving himself against elite opponents. He said he isn't looking for easy matchups or situations designed to protect his record. Instead, he's focused on developing into the best version of himself by facing the toughest challenges possible. Talbot concluded by saying that testing himself against someone like Cejudo is exactly the kind of opportunity that excites him and pushes him to evolve as a fighter.